Good morning to all of you. There is one participant online.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning. There's a delay from our end again. I'm sorry about it. Later we started around 8:30. After the game, I suggest. So, after the end, so we will wake up early and come. Anyway, let's try to focus on the question. I have received 8 book reports. I mean, 8 reports. Sorry, 6 reports. Right? Is that correct? I think that includes all the online participants as well. They are in groups, right? So what we want to discuss, second week of July, we will be having the presentations. Is that all right? Not the coming week, but the next week, Saturday. Hopefully, during the same time, we can have all 6 presentations on a day. Right? Just to take what we have done, then you comment on that. More than that, you can share your experience with other groups. That you will be ready with some examples for the final exam. So about different organizations and their operations, in this case, service organizations. So that you'll be ready with some examples for the final paper. Any difficulty or any other concerns? That you are right. Or I heard that you had exams from last week, right? The exams and the living cash. That is why some students are not here, right? So, would it be possible for from your side have presentations week after next? Right. Probably give a message then. Right? If you are unable to confirm it today, before the end of the lecture, you can confirm me later. I will tentatively keep it as second week of July. You will confirm that. And as I remember, we completed the previous topic that was on process selection, right? Remember? And from there, we are going to start this topic, facility layout today. Is there any remaining part that we could cover in the previous topic? Because in operations management, as we are already aware now, we study the production side of the business, manufacturing side of the business, or operation side of it. That is mainly responsible for producing products. In service industry, creating and delivering services, and for that, various different processes are needed. Right? So, how to design such processes? How to manage those processes? That is what we study in operations management. So, in the process selection topic, we identified that depending on the business requirements, and the market requirements, how manufacturing firms can select different process types from the available process types, and then make sure that they can produce the right quantities and sell the right product, the right manner to the market. And for that, we identify how processes can be classified based on 2 criteria. Do you remember? Right? Based on 2 criteria, we can divide different processes available, right, into different categories. And what are those 2 criteria we used to classify processes? And you remember, one is process volume, the size of the output, and the other criteria was variety, whether we can produce different types of products, different variety, or will be able to produce only one of it. Right. Considering volume and variety, we could identify different process types. For manufacturing, we identified 5 different process types. For services, we identified 3 different process types. Each of them are having different capabilities, what they can do. Right? So we discuss things with details and then some examples. You remember? For manufacturing processes, there are 5, namely project processes, job shop or jobbing processes, batch processes, mass processes or repetitive processes, and then of course continuous processes. And their characteristics, what we can do with them could be varied. So from business to business or within the same business, the management is responsible for selecting the right process type and implement, and thereby make sure they can meet the market demand. So for services, we identify the process types, namely professional service processes, service shops, and then mass service. Whatever it is, now through processes, for our theoretical understanding, what are being processed? Yeah, I mean, at the beginning we identified operations inputs, operations resources, especially one category called transformed resources. That are 3 types. So through operations processes, these transformed resources are being processed. Basically 3 types. One is materials. Materials are being processed through processes. Right? In which category? Manufacturing or services. Manufacturing. In manufacturing industries, it could be garment factory, it could be biscuits manufacturing, it could be ice cream manufacturing, or it could be automobile assembly. Right? Materials being processed through the processes. So we can understand. And then of course, the other 2 types, either customers or information. Basically being processed through service process. Professional or other. Right? Can you understand it? So in operational systems of any business, what we see is any company, any mixture of these transformed resources being processed and thereby add value, create value, produce products, create and deliver services, and that is what we see. That is the create part of it. When you study operational management, you should have that simple language. Anything that is not clear from that content before moving to this one? Click. Farhan or anyone else connected, they are in the online, yeah. Yeah. Is that so? All right. Within 5 minutes, we can complete it. Right? Service process types. If we have not discussed this part, they are very simple. Right? In manufacturing processes, basically materials being processed. In service processes, what are being processed? Mostly customers or information or both. Right? In some of the services, they might process some amount of products as well, in the sense material. Now, let's identify those 3 process types with characteristics and their examples. First one, that is professional service processes. What does that mean? And in terms of those 2 criteria, process volume and process variety, what type of process is this? Variety is high and volume is check whether that is correct. And that is how you should understand it. So what we call professional service processes, their main characteristic is the volume we can create is low. That means output size, throughput low. But the variety is high. That means customized services can be created and delivered in small scale, in small volume. Could be 1 or 50. Most probably 1. Are you with me? Right. So most probably 1 output would be coming out of the process, which is highly customized. So such we call professional service processes. Can you think of few businesses, few examples? Yeah, you think they are using professional service processes to process either customers or information or both? Audit firms, I would agree with that because each audit project or engagement they get from their clients is unique. So their requirements are different, their industry is different, their scale is different. So auditing procedures, auditing activities are different from one client, one project to another. So it requires professional service process to complete one engagement. True. So they are basically what they process information more than this is the information they process and what they do actually in auditing. Huh? Hello. How you complete audit projects? What you do really? Finally, as the outcome of it, you are trying to give your opinion on the no, whether the financial statement true and fair, right? True and fair. Is that okay? And for that, you are going to conduct various different what you are doing there to form an opinion whether the financial statements are true and fair. What do? You check original transactions and their evidences, and then how they are reported, whether they are aligning with the standards, reporting standards and procedures and all, right? And for that, we have different the audit members assigned within the audit team for different activities. You take samples, right? So those are the processes there. Those are the operations there. Can you understand? And each client, the procedures are more or less same, but each client's auditing project is unique. So that it requires a professional service process. That is why one team is appointed. That team is designing the audit procedures, conducting it and completing it, and finally come up with the opinion. Professional service process. One output. Two. So the nature of activities are unique. They are more like projects that we discussed in manufacturing process types. So that in both there are phases mostly. More than one particular process, there are phases in the operation. You need to complete few steps and then come to the end of it. Sales. Any other industry or example you think they are producing their services using professional services? So yes, each and law firms actually, each case they get, each file is unique. The applicable laws, evidences required, how they should process things, how the story is created. Are they creating stories? So yes, they're creating stories, right? Like yours. They're creating stories and convince others to believe it. And they are taking the case, the solution of the case. So, how they create the case or interpret the case, each case is unique. So, it requires, from operational side, it requires professional service process. Again, information being processed. Any example of customers being processed using professional service process? One customer at a time. Realistic. Doctors, most of the cases, doctor consultation. One patient at a time. Can you understand? Not many. Of course, doctor consultation. Now, what is the implication for operations managers there? That is how we should think. Now, hospitals, when they arrange facilities, other resources for doctor consultation, they should be well aware of this requirement. Only one customer, one patient at a time they are going to process, so that necessary arrangements should have been provided. That is why separate cubicles to maintain the privacy and all the required facilities for the doctor to investigate the patient and then recommend the treatments and everything. And assisted by a nursing staff also. So, like, can you understand it? One patient at a time. So, again, if you think of hospital procedures like surgery, probably one, and they process more than one patient at a time. Probably for that they need separate facilities, separate staff, separate surgery tables, and all. But one patient at a time. Can you understand it? So for that we need only one. I mean, we need a professional service processes what we call. The idea is this: when they use professional service processes, all the resources should have been arranged accordingly. What I mean by resources here is the facilities, building, machinery, and then of course whatever other equipments and all, plus operating staff. Everyone is doing or engaging in one service creation. That is the operations management application there. Otherwise, they won't be able to do it. Another example could be beauty salons. Only one customer at a time. If you have only one hairdresser, barber, right? He can process only one. If you want to process more, what do you need to have? More barbers, more hairdressers, and more chairs, and more what we call it. Salon, there are different types, right? For one patient, one customer, one day, one chair. Otherwise, they won't be able to process more. Can you understand it? Right. Now, can you think of the second type? We call it service shops processors, like the job shops or small batches sometimes. Right. Service shop processors are capable of processing few customers together, 2 or more than 2. Could be relatively medium volume as well. So it could be customers, it could be information. They are being processed at small batches. Small batches. And each batch, the size could be low to medium. And you can offer different services to different categories. That is the difference. Not necessarily only one type. Different services for different groups, and each group process together. So can you think of few examples of business applications, some industries where they use this approach for offering their services? Process few items together. think from customers, I mean, customer processing processes. Few customers are processing. Some simple examples would be like office transportation or public transportation, right? Passenger. All the passengers should be taken together. And then, of course, domestic flights and all, right? Short distance flights and all, they process, I mean, they take maybe 50 to 70 passengers at a time. Size of this aircraft are small. Helicopter transportation could reach, right, 5 to 5 to 14 maximum, right? So, likewise. And more often at hospitals, have you seen sometimes they process few customers together, right? For certain treatments, for certain activities, like what? Have you seen they have organized clinics? So, more, I mean, rather than just taking one patient at a time, they will organize certain healthcare activities as clinics, right? So there will be a team of doctors processing maybe 20, 50 or 60 patients together. Have you been to clinics with your parents also? That is how they are. Why? What is the advantage there? Rather than just processing one patient at a time, what is the advantage there when they process as one batch, one set? Operational advantage. They can complete the processing activities faster and then at a lower time. Within short time period. Right? So they can offer the service within short time period. And from operations side, saving time is important. And more than that, then they can process more customers within short time period. What happens to the operating cost? Per unit cost. That's an advantage. That is the operational advantage of service shop processing compared to professional. Each clinic may be giving treatments, giving instructions, giving advices for different health conditions. Not the same. If you think of information processing, like at banks, right? So when it comes to checks processing, like internal operation, right? To check whether the details of the check, that they accurate, whether they can be processed and everything. So what they do, they take everything together, maybe 10, 50 or 100 checks together, and one person may be going through all the entire set together. Can you understand? So small batch processing, so that they can complete that activity fast. Really fast. So then, of course, when they are entered to the system, now there are there are automatic systems like this. Is that? Otherwise, they could have. They should feed the information to the system. Anyone working for banks? Yeah. So how do you? You did that. Yeah. How do you feed the information to the? Daily check collection. What do you do? Yeah. Okay. Scan the again. Reject करने के लिए अभी तो ये चेक करना verify करने का करने समय सेकंड आवश्यक है Alright. Amount regarding. Alright. Right. Okay. Authority will not set it. Okay. Global value. Here the key what is there. Value like 5 lakhs on the attack. 5 lakhs on the subcategory authorization process. එතකොට ඒගොල්ලෝ verify කරලා එවන checks තියෙනවා. ඒකේ scan copy එක තමයි ඔයගොල්ලන්ට එන්නේ. Clearable තමයි එන්නේ. Right. එතකොට මේ system මේ check information details process කරන්නේ manually enter කරනවා system එකට or how the system detect the information of the check manually you have to enter, right? So check number right, transport and other things, right? So to process that, they operate it as a batch. Once you complete it, everything together will be processed so that they can efficiently complete that process. That's very good. So, service short processing, information processing there. In auditing also, what do you do? Professional service processes? No, for each, let's say now, one area of audit project. What do you take actually? What are the different sections? What are the different areas you are focusing on with auditing? So what are what are the different things? Huh? Risk. Okay. Okay, risk. Okay, what else? Significant account balances. Okay. So you determine certain levels, is that? Okay, then for each to represent each category, you select samples, is that? Okay. Then you do verification. And for that, do you take one at a time? Let's say with higher volumes. Right? So you might select few random, or you selectively take some evidences. Right? Okay, you decided in this case how many samples should be checked. It depends on the material. What do you mean by material? Right. That's a way of calculating it. Right. Okay. Material. How important that is. Okay. How critical that is. Right. So that you determine to give an opinion on this. How many cases should be tested? Right. So that you determine, let's say, for example, 8 cases this time. So you select all 8 cases together and complete together or one by one. So that there are 8 samples that you are going to check, depending on the materiality. So all 8 would be processed together or one by one. In your case, one by one, I guess, right? Otherwise, you won't be able to give detailed attention to it. So not together, but one at a time. See, operations activity. So there are what you do, kind of professional service process. Right? So you need one person or one team from one person, right? Looking at each case and look into details and record the findings. Likewise, you complete 8 different cases and give your opinion based on that. Is that? There we don't see job shop processing. But in information like telecommunication, online services, check clearing and everything, we see job shop processing. And assume that you go to a restaurant. 5 of you, 10 of you go to a restaurant like Pizza Hut or any other place, and you sit on one table. How they would provide you the service? Individually? No, from operation side, they take one table and they assign one waiter for that, and they take the order and food items are served to the table, and thereby they treat all 10 or 5 together. Can you understand it? But you order could be different, but the other table order. So they consider, from technical point of view, that is job shops. They use to treat customers. So offer their, can you understand it? So, I mean, that is important because that is the nature of services they created, and that is demanded in the market. Understand it? Coming to the last category, we call it mass services, which is very easy to understand. What is the characteristic here? Mass service. How about the volume of these processes? Volume is high. It could be high or very high. Mass service processes are capable of producing higher volume. Could be higher number of information or customers that they can process. And what type of service they would offer? Customized service, that is variety low or variety high. Variety low. In other words, what they can offer is highly standardized service. The same service to everyone. And such we call mass service processes. In which industries you may see if you think for a while? Yeah. In education, unlike in a university like SAB, where we see job shop kind of processing here, small batches. University, state universities, right, where they may process, let's say, normal first degree programs. There are, now at my faculty, there are 700 plus undergraduates. Of course, mass processing. We can't pay attention to everyone at the beginning. There are ways and means to do it, but the general degree we offer to a large batch. It could be 700 here in Sri Lanka, but in other developed countries, it could be 1,000 plus graduates at time. So they process more students, and for that they need mass service processing. They will have to arrange with the technology, with other facilities. That is how they manage. Standardized service to a big crowd. In a place like SAB, and a customized degree programs for a small volume, and that is for small classes, class sizes, batch size. Where else you see mass processing? Telecommunication services. Telecommunication services. I'm sorry, I don't know much about the technology behind that or the processing behind that, but of course, it requires mass service processors to handle or manage the operations. Yeah. And then, of course, like railway transportation. Right? Could be another example. Big crowd, size of the volume, size of the volume of the customers, high, big, and standardized service according to timetable. According to timetable, cover a certain stage. Water and electricity, of course, yes, but most of the time we don't consider them as services. Because, let's say electricity generation, although it's a I mean, electricity supply is a service, but how electricity is generated, that is manufacturing process. So if you remember on the continuous processes we talked about electricity generation and water treatment plants. Right? So they process water, clean water through a process that is of course manufacturing process, production process more than services. But they come under service industry because they talk about the supply, but it requires manufacturing processes. Agree? Just think of live performances, musical shows and all. From operation side, which kind of processing is that? Must could be 1,000 plus, 10,000 plus. Right? Live performances. The same music, entertainment, sounds, lighting, everything together to give a different experience that is standardized. Hope you can understand. So those are the different examples you can think of. The idea here is that whatever the business, whatever the output they produce, we can understand from these different process types. More importantly, manage should be able to comprehend, depending on the market demand and the type of product or service we offer, what type of processing would be required. That's getting changed over a period of time. When the demand is low, of course, when the product is new, demand is low. Customers might prefer different varieties. So that certain process types, like professional service processes or service shops, might be required. Over a period of time, when the demand is growing, and the business also find it difficult to offer different services, variety of services, instead they might select highly demanded one standardized service and offer to the large crowd and earn more profits. And for that, it requires mass service. That is how it is. So selecting that, not only that, select based on the processing type, select all the other operations resources. Operations arrangement should have been made. Okay? Like machinery, technology, workforce, equipment, service creation process, everything should have been arranged in the same way. Can you understand it? So that is it. So that is about processing. In this topic, we try to understand one application of it. Based on the way you arrange the process, how resources should be established. Resources should be arranged within the factory, within the facility. That is different. And in this topic, we try to understand that part quickly. And that is called facility layout, layout planning. This is not a new area for many of you, but I will just show you the technical side of it, or the theory part, plus some examples. So these are the main learning outcomes we try to cover here. Since we study for a subject, we will define what it is, facility layout, and understand the importance of layout planning. So then, of course, as a theory part, we try to identify what are the different layout types available, what are their characteristics, and what type of processes, what type of layouts are used. That's a technical relationship that we need to understand. Otherwise, managers won't be able to comprehend it. There are few layout types. We will basically pay attention to two main layout types used. I will explain the other two as well. One is process-oriented layouts. Their characteristics, their main advantages where we can use them. Some limitations we will also use. And we cover these before. process-oriented layouts. No. We have very limited time, by the way. I will try to give you some important details only. There are 80 plus slides here. That is because there are some calculations. But I will not explain everything. I will just show you some important points. You will have, you will understand. The second layout type, we call it product-oriented layouts that are used for specific purposes. So we will identify their characteristics as well as their disadvantages and some of their limitations. In addition to that, there are other layout types. I will just show you and their characteristics as well. Then, of course, there are different techniques used when developing these layouts, when planning these layouts. So we'll identify one or two techniques. At least two techniques. One for process-oriented layouts. One technique we can use, and that is called block diagram technique. I will quickly tell you. And the product-oriented layouts are designed using a technique called assembly line balancing. I will just show you the steps and in one or two examples. You will find it useful in case if you are to arrange the layout. How can you use these techniques? Make those decisions in a more effective and systematic manner. That is a useful matter. Are you going to use or arrange the layouts? We have divided it, so you know what we mean by layout, right? So layout and layout planning. This is a common term that we use in many situations. But in operations, we call it operations facility layout. Right. What is it? Facility layout. Where else you have heard of this term? Layout. Where else you have heard of it? Not in operations, but somewhere else. What is that? What is the layout? Any idea? You know of it, I know. Building plans, yeah, of course. That's called building layout. Yeah. In fact, that is what we are going to talk about. And you had an answer. Franchise shops, the way they have arranged the, that is of course the facility layout. My simple question was, where else you have heard of it? Layout in Mathanikal. Because we use it everywhere. Let's say for example, when you see a paper advertisement, right? Say full size paper advertisement, you identify where they have placed different letters, symbols, pictures, other items there. So that is the layout of the advertisement. Can you understand? The layout of the advertisement, which means where they have placed different letters, pictures, colors, symbols, everywhere. That should be nice and that should be appealing to attract the attention. So that is also layout. When you go to a print, right, you need to arrange the print layout nicely so that that can be printed in an attractive way. That is a print layout. So we're going to talk about facility layout. Operations facility. Now, since we talked about the layout, facility planning or facility location planning, all you know what we mean by operations facilities. What we mean by operations facilities is these are the buildings and premises used for operation. It could be factory, it could be the branch of operation, or warehouse, showroom, retail outlets where these operations are taken place. Fine. So facility, operations facilities. And the layout of it is all about how within the facility, that means how within the factory or warehouse or showroom, right? How within the facility physical resources are located. Departments are located. Not only within the building, outside the building also. Around the building. How different physical arrangements are made in such a way that operations can be performed efficiently and effectively. That is what we can understand here. Layout planning is determining the best physical arrangement of operating resources within a facility, within a building, operations, factory, warehouse, or whatever. It refers to arrangement of everything within and around the building. So more technically speaking, layout decision involves determining the placements of departments, workstations, machines, stock holding points, working areas, and any other transforming resources within an operations facility. This is an important decision to make. Now, technically speaking, in this decision, we decide where to place our transforming resources, right? And then how different tasks are divided among transforming resources. Now, you have a doubt now. You don't follow the previous session. What we mean by transforming resources. So remember, one category is transformed resources. Those are the items being processed. Materials, customers, or information. And the other category is called transforming resources, which means resources that are used in converting raw materials into finished product, customers into satisfied customers. So that includes two things. One is facilities, and the other one is work staff. So what is the arrangement made for those transforming resources, and activities are divided among transforming resources like product and steps that make sure either products or customers flow through the factory in an efficient and effective manner, which is very important from operational side. Otherwise, there are a lot of operational issues. There are a lot of applications you can understand. Let me quickly cover this slide and move to the other part. This decision will dictate the pattern of flow, how materials, customers, or information processed through the operation. It is important. Arranging better layouts is very important because it brings a lot of operational advantage. And we been to some places as customers. Now, service outlets, let's say, that you feel like you have come to a better place. It's more convenient. more satisfying and appealing. Right? And you could get the service done fast. You are comfortable, you are happy about that array. Do you think, any places coming to your mind? Any examples? Some banks, of course, some of the modern branches of banks, right? You feel, that's a very nice array, right? So appealing and so efficient as well. So, among many other reasons, one reason could be the layout. The layout, the way in which they have arranged the space. In the same manner, there are some branches, not Union Bank, but of course some branches that you don't want to go. Right. That you don't want to go. They haven't been to Union Bank, I have been to, so that you don't worry. Right. So they have certain. In fact, now we can't blame the state sector banks. I have seen they have improved their layout a lot. Go to the People's Bank, go to Bank of Srilanka. They have changed the layout into more attractive and efficient. Yeah. Have you been? I think. Some branches. This area, Western Province at least. I think the areas could be if their customer base, customers visiting per day, that is unbearable. The resources, especially the staff and all, limited, so they have waiting queues and all, those are unavailable. But in branches in Colombo, Western Province, I think they have improved a lot. Proper waiting area, lobby area, and then of course the counters and everything has been arranged in a more neat, nice, efficient manner. Have you seen? Better layouts. Sometimes just think of your experience at supermarkets. Supermarket. There can be certain branches. You're really happy. You are really happy to visit that place again and again. Among many other reasons, one reason could be the layout. They have arranged it nicely. You can park the vehicle very close to the outlet and go and just select whatever you want within a shorter time period, and without waiting in counters, you can quickly check out. There are enough counters operating. You see, although we don't realize it, that's a layout array. That is the advantage of efficient layout array. If you go to hospital, why do you go to hospitals? For emergencies, for getting treatments and all, right? So they should have understood accordingly arrange the design. Most of the hospitals have designed very nicely, neatly, and right? So that close to the gate where what they have located, close to the entry point, what they have located. I mean, we found the facilities to take the patients in, right? Yeah, of course, we are then another trolleys and all, right? They have arranged it. And more importantly, what are the different sections, different, let's say, treatment units they have arranged close to the entrance? Have you seen? Have you noticed? Emergency treatment units. And then, of course, other one is accident homes. Have you seen? Accident treatment. Why? That should be paid immediate attention. Saving a life could be a matter of few seconds. Right? So they have arranged those treatment units close to the main entrance. Then, of course, patient registration desks and all. Have you seen patient registration? Because that has to be expedited. Then, of course, scan section and the scan machines and all, like X-ray and everything. So, and the wards and other surgery units are there. Mortuaries are there. Have you seen? So that is how the layout has been arranged. That is how the layout has been arranged for a hospital. That's it. If you go to office, sometimes you are comfortable being at office than staying at home, right? Because you like that habit. You stay more than 8 hours per day. Right? So it could be more convenient, more satisfying. Should it be? Should it be? Should it be? Because staff may be staying for more than 8 hours per day. 5 days per week. Right? Maybe for 10, 15, 20 years. Have you calculated how long we have been there? Right? So that place should have been a nice, efficient place for workers to work. So there are officers that you would like to work. So one good reason could be you feel like you can complete more work when you're at office than at home. Because the damage, both physical and then the atmosphere they maintain. So that's about layout. Any questions you want to ask? The first you see the lobby area of Galle. Close to entrance, how they have placed different self-service machines, and then the waiting area, right? That's the layout. Somewhere down here you see a factory. Within one area of the factory, how machines are located, how materials are transported to machines, and then the process is arranged, finished products are taken back to the warehouse. So like that. That is the layout. Very important for both manufacturing operations as well as service. So there are theory parts that we need to understand. That is the purpose of this topic. The other thing you know, practically you are familiar with there. The purpose here is to help you understand the theory part and the applications. So if you think of a restaurant like this, I have taken these images from Italy. Could be a case like Pizza Hut. So from operation side, if you understand the restaurant operations and the physical resource arrangement, that should be different for different areas. Now, we as customers use the lobby area and the counter and the dining area. That is what we all have seen. If you go inside, you may see how the food preparation, kitchen and then food preparation is done, and for that, how the resources have been arranged. Purposely, they have designed it and accordingly customized machines, equipment are used for different restaurants. That is how they, I mean, for a restaurant, should they arrange the kitchen area in a more specific manner? Oh, what do you think? Can they just place those equipment here and there and then just do food preparation? Carefully think how often we use different equipment, tools and everything. Where should they be located? To make sure that the person, maybe chef and the assistant, can efficiently move from one area to other area, one machine to other, one section to other, and efficiently engage in food production. Time is very maybe few seconds delay in supply, especially in developed countries, reputed restaurants. Right? Few minutes delay means huge damage to their reputation. Of course, if you think of franchise restaurants and all, there are very strict standard operating procedures. So, Pizza Hut, let's say for an example, if they promise that they will deliver pizza within 16 minutes, that is the standard time for a special type of pizza. If they take 1 minute additional, that's there will be penalty. That is how they maintain the standards. And for that, they should make sure resources should have been arranged in the right. So a dining area that is mostly used by dining customers. Right? So when arranging that area, not only the functional side, how efficiently we can use, how efficiently we can move from one table to other, right? That is not the only concern. There are other concerns. Like what? When arranging the dining area, they should have thought of customer experience. Right? Whether the arrangement gives customers a different attractive experience, unique experience. And accordingly, they have arranged the furniture, paper designs, atmosphere, background, color combinations, cleanliness, security, privacy. You understand? So, considering all those, they have designed the dining area. At the same time, how efficiently they can clean the area, they can serve tables and all. You think about a place like bank, right, for which the space is very limited, and there are different service processes, sections they need to locate within the small area. And customers are also coming, unlike the factory. Factories, customers don't come. But here, customers are also coming. So, how they can arrange the small area available for different sections in such a way that services can be created and delivered in an efficient manner? That has to be, and that decision is called layout planning. Decision is called layout planning. It is one way a technical process, consider technology requirements, and various other design concepts. In your understanding, who involved in this decision? Who made these decisions? This is the operations managers give their inputs, their requirements. Right? They will openly or explicitly they will tell these are our operational requirements. We need to operate in this scale. There are these consequences and all, but there will be other design experts, right? Like what? And then of course the technology experts, they have their inputs. So they will give their recommendation. Now these two sections should not be located close by. There are some harmful effects here, so that these are the technology requirements. But considering all these requirements, there can be other experts who are involved in, right? Design experts. Maybe again the engineering background, architectural staff, experts in that regard, and interior designers with these latest design concepts and all, right? With the technology background, they do it. But they should meet all the requirements, especially operations requirements and technology requirements. And when it comes to services, marketing requirements. Right? Because they are going to offer unique customer experience. if you think of different restaurants and hotels, each one is unique. They are designed for different themes, right? Not on the functionality, but of the other side of other requirements are considered. Understanding? One more point before going to the topic. How often or when they should make this layout decision? Are they going to change it often? No. So when a facility is designed, when a new product is designed, when the new facility is designed, they should take this decision. Once that is decided, they will arrange the layout. Once that is arranged, it is difficult to change. That is why they have to make that decision in a careful, systematic manner after carefully considering all aspects. The long-term commitment, maybe for 50 years. So, layout planning should be a systematic and careful. So that affects many other things, especially operations. Operations efficiency, processing time, output volume, and then of course whether resources can be utilized fully, right? All these concerns are there. Does that mean facility layouts cannot be changed? This is an important decision, a long-term decision. Does that mean these layouts cannot be changed forever? Layouts can be changed time to time. Not often, not regularly, but maybe after 5 to 10 years, right? When the technologies change, technologies are getting changed. And then of course other requirements are getting changed. Some processes may be discontinued. They may have introduced new production lines, right? And the demand for some products are growing. Demand for some products are declining. So considering them in the long run, maybe after 5 to 10 years time, layouts might be changed. But that is expected, that is possible. So that is why this decision should be made carefully. And for that, different techniques, different steps are there. In our topic here, we try to identify what are the different layout types available that can be used for different operations and how can we select them. In case if we select one layout type, how to design that layout, what are the key concepts, key techniques that we can use. We have not studied this area, I guess, because we are coming from accounting background, finance background, but having a little bit of this understanding would be useful. Maybe to give your recommendations to your facilities. Plus, now, assume that within your business, within your area, you need to think of layouts for your offices, for your section. You can give your recommendations and for that, you can make use of this knowledge. Especially if you are going to become consultants. Business advisors one day, this could be one main area. The business consultants may pay attention. So you as business consultants should know about it. I have seen many accounting professionals now being converted into business consultants. Maybe to small to medium scale businesses that are becoming consultants. So we were able to going to be. Let's take a small break. Have your breakfast with families. And what time you are going to come back? In this topic, so far we just identify what a facility layout is and what facility layout planning is and the importance of it. When designing facility layouts, there are different objectives, and some of them are mentioned here. Right. So those are the common layout design objectives. In addition to that, there can be some other also. Now think for a while. Your personal experience. And therefore, I can identify. Okay. Shall we start? On this topic, we identified what facility layout is, what layout planning is, and the importance of layout planning. So then, when designing layouts, there are different design layout, layout design objectives that are mentioned here. You may go through slowly. Right. These are the key or the main layout design objectives that I think you can understand. I was asking at your personal level, maybe thinking about your workplace, how many of you can you raise hand? How many of you are happy or satisfied with the existing? I am not going to tell that. Right? So, how many of you are comfortable or happy about the existing office layout or the layout that you work? How many of you are? So, if you think for a while, give me few reasons why you would like it. Some reasons why you think that is good, that is convenient. Some reasons. Can you figure it out? What are the reasons? Why do you think that layout is more efficient?
Engage with the environment.
In the sense, environment in the sense,
like the changing factories.
I see.
That the same kind of which is operating, customers are operating. They are giving more prior to the engineer.
I see. Okay, they are carefully designed it. That you feel like more conveniently the service providing staff and the customers interact. It's a very good point, right? So more conveniently and in a pleasant manner. The relationships can be maintained in a pleasant manner because the layout design as seen it. It's a good point. So likewise, how about others? Why do you like the existing layout? Convenient to workers like you, the staff. Right. What do you mean by convenient? Right. To perform his duties, he requires some other support, especially the supervisor's observation, their consultation, their advisors, their supervision is needed. So they are surrounded by their cubicles are also surrounded by his cubicle or his working area. And then whatever the machines require, like printing or any other, placed appropriate manner so that you can conveniently do your work. Right? Thank you. What else? What are the other reasons? Why do you like pleasant environment? Right. So if it is an office, right, that environment should be pleasant to the worker because they are going to spend for 7 to 8 hours per day. So that atmosphere, the environment is more pleasant. That is another reason. Some more reasons. Why do you like? The reasons are such. Right? So because they have designed in line with some of these design objectives. Now, smooth workflow, especially at a most of you are not working in factories, so that is what you will understand it. But go to a manufacturing facility like factory, the layout should support the production process. So smoothly from starting point to the end, right? And various different parts of the product should be produced and assembled. And in services, we call it maintaining a particular traffic pattern. That is how the customers move through the process. Think of a hospital. From entrance to the other areas, then come back to, right? Think of a supermarket outlet that we all go, right? How conveniently we can go through the outlet and buy or select whatever the product we want and come to the checkout points and easily make the payments and come out. Flow. Traffic pattern. In the same manner, whatever the other, say for example now, polling centers, police stations. Some places are convenient, whereas some others are not, because of the layout direction. So that's within the space. And the process, hotels, restaurants. Can you understand it? So in addition that there are other layout design objectives as well. The layout should be safe for both workers as well as the outsiders like customers. And then of course that should be designed in a way that minimize the length of flow. Unnecessarily traveling right within the factory or within the showroom or within the outlet. That is not needed. That is of course reduced. Should be reduced. Because unnecessary traveling means unnecessary time consumption, unnecessary expenditure. And other characteristics. Go through and you can understand. Any point that is not clear? Open the books, right? Keep them open at least. Whether the equipment can be easily accessible, whether you can utilize the machines fully, like those are the concerns. Whether the space has been used appropriately. For a place like the supermarket, they calculate per feet profitability. Per square feet profitability and allocate different areas for different product categories. Balance also say, and there is another concern like allow for flexibility, ability to change the appropriately. Anything that is not clear? Now many others they didn't raise hand, right? So does that mean they are not happy with their existing layout arrangements? Maybe true. Can you point out one of your reasons why you don't like? What are the reasons? What are the main issues you have in your existing work environment, that layout? Some reasons. Hello. Some of your observations. What made you?
Facilities not arranged well.
Like what? Facilities not arranged well. For example.
Yeah.
Not having printers is something really right? Or having only one printer for 20 plus workers, that is also problematic. Yes. And then of course the machines available, right? Machines available, but they are placed far away places. So you have to every time go maybe 50 meters, right? 50 meters every time. That takes me time, right? And most of the time, if you don't have enough printers, that's also kind of issue, right? Lack of resources. So I mean, the entire department, there can be 20 or 25 individuals depending on one printer, right? So there will be a queue, right? And a lot of mistakes. They take your print, right? You go here and there and you take your print, right? So finally to see, that's a layout issue, right? So that has to be addressed. Then of course, the traveling distance. Go here and there. Right? And then what are the other things? Some other points. And these practical things you need to understand, that is how you can think of better planning. If you become a manager, the head of that division, what layout suggestions you would make to make the operations more efficient, more effective? That is what you should think. Some issues with existing layout, some other. Infrastructure is not enough, or infrastructure is not enough, or what is the concern here?
Is the long time well.
Oh, that's a very old, is that? Okay, that's an old layout that has been built for requirements at that time, does not match with the current requirement. Okay, that could be true. That's very old. I mean, not just old, that is not adequate, that is not in line with your requirements now. Like, the staff is bigger now, the requirements are such, the layout is old. Likewise, what else? You need to think of services now because you are coming from service industries. What are the other issues? There can be many issues. Huh? Hello? Sometimes you don't like supervisors are every time looking at you and observing everything, right? But instead you need a little bit of privacy, right? A kind of peace of mind to work on your thing. Whereas they have like CCTV everywhere, they're looking at your computers, what you do and everything. Close supervision that they promote, but you don't like it, especially some creative work and all. Let's see, if you go to advertising firm, they have given freedom to their workers because that's a kind of job. It requires a lot of freedom to come up with new ideas and all. Have you been to a place like advertising firms? They have design layouts. Totally different. If you go to, I mean, if you just check software development companies and all, what facilities they have provided to their workers to work on, and Google head office and all. That is the fact. That's important. Not only the space utilization and other things, but the mental requirements of the workers they have addressed. Have a point.
Limited spaces for workstation and work.
Not enough space. That's a true problem. Right? Maybe. Is that a problem? Of course. Thank you for pointing it out. Right? So very small space, that does not only limit your productivity, right? That may affect your peace of mind. Right? And in the long run, that could result in something called occupational diseases. That are very common in manufacturing factories. So those are issues. Can you understand it? So now if you go to a better place, you may see resources arranged in such a way, moving, I mean, leg space and everything, maintained properly, and adjustable computer tables, adjustable sitting chairs, and machines and tools and equipments are, we call them designated. Right? Each worker, the required tools and machines are provided on the table, placed nicely. So can comfortably work. Some of those findings are there. That area is called ergonomics. Have you heard of it? One branch of science that involves in doing researchers identifying how machines and human body interaction, right, can be used to come up with better solutions. Tools, equipments, furniture items likewise. That is called ergonomics. Find the body there. In fact, towards the end of it, I have given you some of ergonomics findings for office environment. I have just taken from a textbook. Somewhere down the line, you can see. Since we talk about it, because these are very important for office environments, office layouts, right? Where we promote human interaction and communication, both unlike factories, offices, service organizations like yours, where you all work, right? Communication and human interaction is very important. Accordingly considering the physical environment and the psychological needs of the organization and the requirements of workers, those layouts have been designed. And in it, some of these very basic ergonomic findings are considered. Office environments. Check whether you can understand. These are for officers. Even for your study table, study area, some of these findings, although these are very basic, at least these have been. You may find a lot of other findings, ergonomic findings, applicable to all of us on day-to-day life. That is to work for long hours, more conveniently, and high productivity. At minimum, health issues, physical issues to workers, basically physical issues, but you know, physical environment affect mental conditions also. Some more findings: adequate lighting, adequate contrast, no glare or distracting reflections on the computer screen. Likewise, adjustable, detachable, legible keyboards, distracting noises minimized. What is subject on wake up? How about you? I know my female colleagues, they work well. Right? Whatever the noises, whatever the cleaning stuff, but they don't care and they can work. They can eat, they can work while they are having drink their type and having tea. But for me, when one person, very difficult to concentrate on what I am doing. I can't even type, I can't make a sentence. Especially when I conduct online lectures, when some noise is there, very difficult to concentrate. That is for me, I don't know about you. So for certain things, certain physical environments are needed. Women are good at multitasking. You are aware. But who asked? We can't. I don't know about you. So likewise. So let's move to the main content there. Right? Since you all are coming from service industry, I just give you such details. And well, go through slide number 76 and 77 also. What makes layouts better in face-to-face services here in slide number 77. Face-to-face services like banks, hospitals, supermarkets like this. Anything that is not clear in this list? These are only few basic points. There are many other things. Slide number 76 gives you some characteristics of better layouts for back office operations. You know, back office, where customers may not come in, right? Service providing staff will have arrange internal operations to provide the front office services through the front office staff. For back office layouts, some of these concerns are very critical. What we mean by backtracking, going backward in the process, right? So forward and backward. So when it comes to back office operations, they should be more efficient, so that they have a more convenient, straightforward flow, rather than going back and come, back and forth, back and forth. So that delays the process, that results in inefficiency. So backtracking should be kept at minimum, especially back office and then also factories. Backtracking. So other characteristics. What are not clear here? In 1 or 2 minutes, people can understand it. Any point that is not clear? Backtracking kept at minimum. See that? So as I explained to you, backtracking is all about in a process going backward in the process and then coming back again. Right? Usually, in fact, our factories, and then of course, back office operations, they are in efficiency. That means complete the process as quickly as possible, so that we encourage mostly the forward flow from starting point to the end. Okay. Backtracking is all about going backward and coming back, right? Especially going backward. So certain processes are required. Say for an example now, just think of a restaurant making, let's say, burgers, right? There's a good demand for their burgers, right? And they have arranged the burger assembly process in a way, like from starting point to the end. But somewhere in the middle, when they make certain fillings, that has to go back to previous step and again some other process and come back. Can you understand it? So as a result of that arrangement, it delays the process. Instead, would have been nicer to have a forward flow, right? So that they can efficiently assemble it and send that to the counter so that they can sell it. Backtracking should be minimized as much as possible. But due to certain reasons, we'll have to, sometimes machines are permanently located, right? So only one machine is available, right? So that certain backtracking can be unavoidable, but that should be minimized. So like interstage storage of material, which means work in progress and known within a factory. Between production steps, work in progress will be stored until they are used in the production process, right? So to make the layout more efficient, we need to minimize that. I'll give you one example. Have you been to most of these medium scale prints or press or printers? When you go inside, you may see half process in the sense half printed materials, half printed lots are located everywhere. They also don't know where they are. Right? Have you been to a place like that? This Galle area, Srilanka area, right? There are medium scale printers. The machines are located without any careful planning, so that half process, half printed lots are located everywhere. That's a sign of poor layout plan. Poor layout plan. Interstock, stage stock stuff. Had they arranged the layout in a more efficient manner, they could have overcome it. They could have overcome it. Go to a factory, go to a printer, printing firm that has been designed nicely. You don't see such. Lots are efficiently moving from one area to another. They are there, and there are arrangements made to transport them from one section to another. Maybe manual, maybe forklifts, maybe other technology, conveyor belts and all, and easily complete the process and get the final products as quickly as possible. And they are ready to dispatch. But here, poor layouts. These items should be stored. These half process, half printed lots should be stored there because not enough printing machines are available. For certain technology, only one machine is available. So all the lots are coming and staying there. Stagnating. And that we call bottlenecks. Certain steps are there, bottleneck. If we see more bottlenecks, that's a clear indication of poor layout. In your service areas, have you seen? In your offices, you have seen some bottleneck operations? You have seen. That's an indication. You need to work on it. You have to overcome it. Give an example now. These are very simple points, right? You as a manager or HR manager, or maybe the head of, maybe as the manager of the division, you have observed you have 60 plus workers reporting to work on time, but they're waiting to what you call it, fingerprint. You keep the fingerprint there, and unnecessarily they are waiting maybe for 10 minutes, 8 to 10 minutes. During peak time, that means reporting time and then the leaving time. So it's a matter of fixing 2 or 3 fingerprint machines, and you can overcome that issue. Otherwise, they have come on time, but waiting in front of the fingerprint machine. You understand? In addition to that, there are other. These are my points for your concern. Now, if you are comfortable with it, let's move to tech theory part of it and identify how to select the best layout for different purposes. But not in detail, right? Well, I'm not going to explain things in detail here. You can ask any questions. Basically, in textbooks, after studying different operations facility layouts, there are these 4 main types of layouts, and given these names. There is one called the second one. We call it process-oriented layout. Some characteristics, certain characteristics are there here, right? We call them process-oriented layouts, also known as functional layouts or job layouts. Those are sometimes used. They're unique. They're different. That is certain processes that is needed, and in the same time, There is other layout type, mainly used in factories, but in services also we can use it. We call it product-oriented layouts. That one here, product-oriented layout. Also known as flow shop layouts. Flow shop layouts. Sometimes we call them assembly line layouts also, because these are arranged as assembly lines. Assembly lines. These are the two main layout types often used in facility layouts. Whether that is services or manufacturing firms, these are the two main types. Each one of them have their own advantages, their own capabilities, what they can do with it. And at the same time, there are constraints, limitations. So there is this fourth one here. We call it, and that has become more popular now. These layouts are called hybrid layouts, especially in manufacturing. Hybrid layouts are also known as cell layouts or cellular layouts, where the physical arrangement is a combination of both process-oriented layout and the product-oriented layout, and thereby give advantages of both. And these have become more popular now. Hybrid layout. So we just try to understand their characteristics, where they can be used, and other things. So for accountants like you all, these are new. But factory workers, factory managers, and all, yeah, I mean, they can understand things very well. But for you, you need to know. And the first one here, that's a different arrangement, and that is called fixed position layout. It has unique characteristics and used for certain facilities only. These are the four main type of layouts. Additionally, in different industries also we see common layout types are used, right? And here you identify three such layout types, which are used for different industries. In addition to those four, one is called office layouts that are used in office environment. Staff is working like your staff process certain things. Go to inner level department. Have you been to that place? Here in Sri Lanka, we don't have I mean, we don't see efficient arrangement there. Have you been to IRB as a council? Have you been? So we'll have to there is our tax assessment on everyone. In one main hall, there are their tables and all. And on top of their tables, lot of pipe. We can't see the person. Have you been to that place? A lot of my friends are working there. And this is IRB. Very inefficient arrangement. I don't know recently whether they have made any improvements. Next, layout. But you may see, go to banks like HSBC. Union Bank is also good. But like HSBC, oh, yeah, that call centers, oh, they are what they call one center. Outsource करती है तो लगी back office support के देना होने देना HSBC Again. Maybe accounting services, maybe other services. So if you visit such places, then arrange honestly one floor area, and workers are provided both the necessary infrastructure facilities in an efficient manner. So office spaces, they call it open office concept. Have you come across that? Open office. Everyone see all the others. And minimal work environment, minimal designs, simple design, but still everyone can operate. Office arrangements. Retail layouts are retail well for showrooms, outlets, retail shops. The layout requirements are different. So they need to store products until customers come and compare and buy them. Supermarket outlets, pharmacy, and other retail outlets, they require certain special display products and allow customers to go and compare and select. Unlike we, right? When you go to buy garment items, maybe department stores and all, you know how you compare where you want to go from one thing to the other, everything you want to see. Simple. So how nicely they have arranged the retail outlets for garment items, like full pallet, also fashion, candy, they have identified the requirements and designed the layout in a more efficient manner and in a profitable manner also. Display areas are allocated for different categories and arranged in an attractive manner. In line with other design concepts also, lighting, atmosphere, and everything. The roads, passages, there. Warehouses, there is another layout. Have you been to a warehouse? Maybe with there can be personal warehouse attached to the factory, close to the factory, or there are different businesses providing warehousing services. We call them 3PL companies now, right? Are you aware? 3PL stands for third-party logistics companies. Third-party logistics companies, and their business is mainly providing the storage facilities, warehouses for their clients, and then of course transportation, plus other value-added services. We'll talk about it because that is one important area we need to know about when we talk about operations management. So 3PL companies, the warehouses, they need to design them in such a way so that they can provide storage facilities in a more efficient and effective manner. Finish of buildings, have you seen? So store areas are arranged using different arrangements. So the layout is different. They need to store products and retrieve products in a more efficient and effective manner. That technology and space utilization should be used. So layout arrangements are different. Understood it? In the similar manner, you may see some similar layouts in banks. We call it bank layout. In the similar manner, you may see some similarities in hospitals. How the physical arrangement within hospitals are arranged. So we call them hospital layouts. Right? So likewise, there can be other layout types also. Understood? Right. In operations management, let's focus on these four and identify where to use them. You will understand this slide later, but it nicely summarizes here the relationship between layout types and process types. You may not understand this now, but you will understand it later. Now, these are the layout types. Functional layout or process-oriented layout. Product-oriented layout. Cellular layouts and fixed position. Do you remember these? These are the 5 manufacturing process types we identified. Now, these sub-services will come back to that later. Now, for project processes, fine. For project processes, as you see, now, for most of the project processes, almost everyone, depends on what type of layout. See the area covered by the arrow here. That is the relationship. So almost all project processes may require fixed position layouts. How about jobbing processes? If a factory is using jobbing processes, according to this, layout arrangement should be either functional layout, right? Functional layout, or for some jobbing processes, fixed position. That is how you should understand it. Clear? The way it summarizes this relationship. How about the third category, batch processes? Technically, which layouts are recommended for that? Either functional layouts or cell layouts. And can you see here? For some job processes, batch processes, even product layouts are possible. For some, that is how you do. For mass processes, refer the scope here. Mostly the product layouts are recommended, product oriented layouts. And now we see cellular layouts are also used. Coming to the fifth one, repetitive processes, continuous processes, what we call it, and only product layouts are technically possible. Okay. Come back to this slide later and check whether you can understand. Service examples. If a service facility uses a professional service process that we discussed today, what type of layout is needed? Either fixed position or function, depending on the volume. Service shops, mostly functional layout, and in some cell layouts. But for mass service processes, open product layouts are used and cell layouts. Okay? That is how they are technically recommended. But now we need to know their characteristics and know. Can we quickly go through at least two layout types and understand their characteristics and how they can be used? Any big questions prior to that? What we discussed here, we identified that there are different layout types. In fact, there are 4, and additionally some other layout types. But here we understood there's a tight link between process types and layout type. Let me begin with the process-oriented layout, functional layout. These two slides will give you a little more details about these layout types and their objectives. I hope you will go through it. Some international examples are given here, taken from a textbook. You will understand it as we move forward. Slide number 13 introduces you some characteristics of poor layout. Symptoms of poor layout. That is, now you are in a position to understand because we discussed it. If long distances are there to cover, that's a characteristic of poor layout. When there is more congestion in the factory, in the flow, or bad utilization of space, excessive stops in process, work in progress, and the facility unnecessary, likewise. When we notice some bottlenecks, and at the same time some workstations with idle time. Some items are getting stocked in front of some workstations, whereas some workstations they don't have work to do at the same time. It's a clear indication of poor layout. Sometimes you may have been to vehicle service stations. Service stations, cleaning, vehicle cleaning. So you may see now to provide the service faster, they have divided the work. Under wash and other things will be done separately, and the body wash will be done separately, cleaning, vacuum, and other thing. So you may see sometimes vehicles are there to wash, but certain other areas they are being idle. Maybe due to layout arrangement issues. There are bottlenecks at the same time. Idle. Services also that is same. So from operation side, that is an issue we need to overcome. Likewise, the qualified workers carrying out too many works, simple work, labor anxiety, labor discomfort, and more accidents at the flow area. Difficulty in controlling or supervising the workers and the customers. The issue here is that most of these layouts issues are unseen, but then you don't know. Sometimes these issues are there, but management doesn't understand them as layout issues. They don't understand them as layout issues, so that they can't overcome them. Anything that you have experienced or something that you want to add here? Some layout issues that comes to your mind. Maybe at a place you visited, maybe at your office, that you think immediately should be addressed. Just to take whether you understood. Damages to stock, of course, due to inappropriate layout arrangement, Sometimes products may be damaged, right? Because especially some products may require special storage conditions, but the layout doesn't provide such facilities. Sometimes they require more space, but only small space. So when you pack all the products there, they are can be damaged. Or else, it requires certain physical conditions like temperature, humidity level, cool environment, and all. But facility doesn't have those special arrangements. So if you think of factories like places like factories, noise, and then of course vibration, heat. So those are concerns and understanding. Right? So otherwise, that may affect the workers also. So there can be product damages, and on the other side, there can be accidents. We will say yes, products can be damaged, right? Some other issues. Just elaborate, how does that happen? Okay. Okay. Of course, due to layout issues, product cost, operating cost could be higher, right? Due to various different reasons. One reason could be unnecessary lengthy processes, or probably unnecessary traveling, material handling. Material handling cost is something that we need to overcome. Because that doesn't add any value to the product. Can you understand? Cost, what we call material handling cost, that is to take products from one place to another. That is something, that is a cost that doesn't add any value to the product. Right? But at factories, when the material handling cost is high, that affects the product cost. Zero contribution, but product cost is, can understand? So that happens because of poor layout issues that we need to. The product cost is one main concern. The product cost is high, is unnecessarily high compared to other similar type factories. You need to. This could be their layout issue also. Any other concerns you have seen? Look around, you may see a lot of layout issues. I mean, people don't really recognize them as. Now, just think of public services available here in Sri Lanka. Railway transportation. Those arrangements have been built few decades ago, probably 4 or 5 decades ago. Colombo Port. Only few entry points. During peak hours, like office time, school time, and all, very difficult to get into the platforms on time. But trains may not wait until they come through the entry points. So they are have been to some other countries, even to India. We have a lot of points to learn. How they have arranged the entrance to the platforms to make them more spacious, and there should be some technology used, and thereby you can facilitate more passengers to come in faster. Often there are complaints about Sri Lanka airports in Sri Lanka, right? Because you have to wait unnecessarily at various different check-in counters, especially when you come back, departure. You have to wait for 20 minutes, 30 minutes, sometimes 1 hour just to clear your stuff. One might think that's an issue in country. No, that's a layout issue at the airport. Can you understand it? So that has to be understood in that way and branch managers at banks, they might think sometimes they understood me, but let's say during peak hours, what is peak? That's maybe 11 AM to 1:30 or so, or 12. During that time period, maybe average waiting time, customer could be 5 minutes to 15 minutes to 20 minutes. Does that affect the service quality? Does that affect the customer satisfaction? Does that affect the branch performance? So customers are unnecessarily waiting. They may have a lot of other things to do. Why they should be waiting here? Right? From a technical point of view, it could be a layout issue. Can you understand? And to overcome them, now some branches may operate with 3 counters. But during the peak hours, there are 2 more counters that are ready to open. Right? And they start opening them also, all 5. And thereby they can reduce the waiting time. They have overcome the issue using layout. Can you understand? Queue management, waiting line management. So these are better layout arrangements. Anything else that we need to quickly discuss? Shall we stop it here and ask you to spend a little time with these 4 layout types at home, and I will quickly cover them and then go to design techniques. So what you're going to do at home? There are 4 layout types. Each layout type is unique. The characteristics are there. Find a few more details. What we mean by functional layout or process-oriented layout. Their main characteristics and where we can be seen. Right? So that we can expedite this. If you have some issues, we can discuss anyway. And there is another one we call it product-oriented layout. How that is different from the previous one. And what are the main advantages of product layouts? Okay, so there is now another layout type, we call it hybrid layouts. Arranging something called cell or work cells. Right. So what is a work cell? What is a cell? What is cellular layout? Find it. And the 4th one we call it fixed position. Compared to other 3, what are the unique characteristics of fixed position layout, and we have to use this layout, right? What are the advantages? So you can conclude it there. I hope you will bring some issues, questions when we next week. I'm not going to provide more details. I almost completed this topic now. Right? These technical points for your understanding, because now you know what layout is, facility layout is, what we mean by layout planning, and the issues with poor layout planning, the importance of layout planning. In addition to that, now you know what are the different layout types available. That is enough for the time being. Please understand. Additionally, you should know what are these differences. What are the differences of layout types? And when designing layout types, what are the techniques available? That we will quickly cover next week. Come prepared, by the way. very much. Take good care of yourself.